Call your sponsor.
Call you sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you sponsor. Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
Welcome back to Bitch Call Your Sponsor. I'm Misty.
Hi, Misty. I'm Sam.
Yay. All right, let's get into our primary purpose.
Our primary purpose
is for
is
Misty and Sam to grow their friendship and maybe help others. Okay, so I have brought to us acceptance. That tired old page 164 that brings up so much healing and controversy in the room. So let me read the little paragraph. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I am disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, or thing or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me, and I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, or thing or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Unless I accept life completely on life's terms, I cannot be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes. So I love that. I've had my back and forth with this little paragraph, especially when it said, whenever I'm disturbed, there's something within me. I was like, how dare they victim blame? Oh, you're saying there's something wrong with me if I'm disturbed. But the truth is, my reaction to disturbances has been wrong within me. And I have not always paused when agitated, right? And I have found life on life's terms unacceptable at times. And now I really, really love what it says at the end, which is I don't need to focus on what needs to be changed on that outside world as much as I need to see what needs to be changed in me and my attitudes. And I think that's a really good point, because it's not always that I need to change my whole personality behavior to conform to others, but maybe my attitude about how they are showing up. Thoughts?
So good. Yeah, so when I came in, it was like the 4th edition was being released, and a dude in my meeting had it was 449, I think, in the 3rd edition, this story, and now it's 417. So I was like, okay, note to self, maybe if it's not in the first 164, don't get it tattooed because it could potentially move. But yeah, like I really relate to this because I had my entire life I've spent trying to change people, places, and things. First it was my parents. Like I wanted them to be different. If only they would act a certain way or wear this thing or do this thing, like I would appear a certain way to people, It was trying to get them to do certain things so that I would look a certain way, based on what I thought people were for how people were perceiving me, And it goes back to what you talk about, like above or below, top of the heap, bottom of the heap,
Right.
Like I didn't want people to think less of me because my parents had accents. They were people of color, whatever those things are, they weren't as worldly as I needed them to be, or, all of those things. And so I spent, like, growing up, that was my whole thing. Like, if only they could just stay put, the show would be great. It's literally step 3. I spent my lifetime. And then even in recovery, my mom has her own spiritual practice, and I would send her a quote unquote care package of books about spirituality and growth, and, the Singer's Surrender Experiment, Tolle, Power of Now, a bunch of books that I thought she needed to read so that we can then have a conversation about how I see spirituality. And you know what? I don't think she even opened the box, because she knew me and she wasn't necessarily looking. And then, the conflict is that then she shares with me some of her books.
Right. You've opened the portal.
So she gave me this one book. She wrote a note in it. It's about some monks or something and their whole spiritual thing. It's about sacrifice. It's just like, okay, it's just like eye roll because it wasn't what I was studying at the time. It wasn't the thing that was like really like I was vibing with,
Right.
Yeah, but this whole thing of until I can just be okay. And, like for us, like we talk a lot about, and then where's the self-reflection is like, I'm not okay with me. So I'm trying to fix everyone around me.
Right. And that, one of the reasons I love this and kind of to your point is that when I was a kid, my first drug was fantasy. My first way out of these chaotic circumstances that I was growing up in and having no control was to live a fantasy life where I had some sort of control. Mm-hmm. And then, in order to keep that going, you have to start drinking at a certain point. Mm-hmm. And so we get in the rooms and it's like, hey, here's reality. And we're like, oh, you're not exactly used to dealing with this. I think not. Yeah. And so acceptance I see sometimes is it's just saying, this is reality. Like your fantasy of how you wanted this to go isn't going to go that way. And can you accept it? And I can't stop thinking about that Michael Singer description where he talks about being on that airport walkway where it walks for itself and you've constructed up ahead this idea of a scenario of a house, of a whatever. And as it comes towards you on that walkway, it kind of crumbles because your idea of what you'd constructed up ahead, it doesn't meet reality. And his whole thing is like, why not just be on the walkway and let reality come to you? Why do you keep constructing these fantasies or ideas ahead of what's coming? Just let it come to you the way it's supposed to show up.
I love that. The more and more I stick around, the more and more I realize how active my mind and my imagination are. Mm-hmm. And, I've been playing this game this whole week of just like unsubscribe, like unsubscribing from whatever. Yeah, literally in my brain. Unsubscribe.
Do you not like unsubscribe?
Unsubscribe, unfollow, block. Yes. Report. Yeah.
No faxes.
Like and also actively unsubscribing from people's narratives that have coming into my sound current. I'm just like, I use your so interesting, and then in my brain I'm saying unsubscribe. You know what I mean? Because it has nothing to do with what's real.
I love it.
Nothing to do with what's real. I actually got that from somebody I used to work with. They used to say, I am not subscribing to that narrative. And I used to be, we're unsubscribing, aren't we? And so I've been playing that all weekend. Someone took time to meet with me and they were like, oh, I'm ready. Tell me what you need. I'm happy to make some introductions. What do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And so I'm chatting and, they're like, yeah, it is a really difficult time right now. And I'm thinking, unsubscribe. I was like, I just said, and I did the head tilts, and I did like, in my imagination, I just lifted my finger and hit the unsubscribe button, report spam, unsubscribe, report spam, which you can do now too.
Spam. I love it.
Because it's not true. It's not true. I'm not going to go into the doom and gloom. I refuse to. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, there's definitely a dopamine drip. that's happening with the doom and gloom and all of these like wonderfully constructed narratives that I'm used to, you know? Yeah. Unsubscribe and accept.
That is so good. I had a friend that used to go delete, delete, delete. Like she would say, oh, I can't believe that, it's raining and then my tires are doing this and whatever. And then she'd go delete, delete, delete. Like she'd say it out loud.
Yes.
And I started doing that. I started like, when something would happen and I'd say something, I'm like, delete, delete, delete.
Yes, yes, yes.
Unsubscribe, delete, like
block, report spam, move to spam. No, I was sharing with someone this morning that, it's, who is, having a struggle, just staying sober today, and they were talking about like, is this one? Is this step one? I was like, no, I think you've done that. I think that's why you're here. Like you're here because you're step two, like you've reached a bottom, like stop figuring out, like when I showed up to a meeting, when I called Intergroup, when I called the central office, like that was for me, my step two, where I was like asking for help, and I stopped figuring it out, and like the unsubscribing is the unsubscribe from all the thoughts they're just incessant.
They are incessant. And they're trying to be the director and they're trying to run the show in a way that keeps me from experiencing uncomfortability and pain. And the thing is, that's not a thing. Like, that's not reality. My alcoholism says we have to protect her brain and emotions from experiencing things she doesn't want to experience it. So let's reframe everything in a way that doesn't cause her any suffering. But the thing is, like, I want everything on my tree. I want all the ornaments on there, and that is the best way for me to go through life, is accepting life on life's terms. So it's like retraining this brain to not make up a narrative that benefits me and to just let reality come to me as it shows up, which is the tallest order in the world, apparently.
This is so good because I just read, okay, so Anna Lemke, she'll probably be she's my top 5 right now guest. She wrote that book, Dopamine Nation. She's Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
I'm listening to it a second time. It's so good. And she's apparently not an addict, like a drug addict, but in this world, we're all addicts. We're addicted to something, whether it's our social feed or liking and all of those things. They're all addictive, highly, highly addictive. But she talks about how the cure, right, which is exactly what you were saying, is like your brain's trying to prevent you from feeling pain. So it then goes into imagination. It then goes into whatever story or narrative, right, which we're now learning to unsubscribe from. But it's preventing the pain, but it's the cure, right? The thinking, the drugs, the alcohol, it's the cure that is actually causing it.
Right. Exactly. It's causing more undue suffering,
yes,
more undue pain than is necessary, because I'm going off on these tangents that do not serve me as to getting to the solution. I'm so concerned now about what people think than I am about just accepting reality and focusing on a solution.
Yeah.
And
it's all distraction.
It's all a distraction. And like, I woke up this morning and the first thing was having an argument with somebody who was not in the room with me this morning.
Oh, I love that. That's the best.
And I said,
were you winning?
Well, I caught myself. Oh, Sam, it was such a beauty. I caught myself within the first 15 seconds and said, no, that's not how I want to wake up this morning. That's not how I would like to start my day. Let's put another thought in there. Let's do something else. And I did. And I went and brushed my teeth and I did some coffee, and about 10 minutes go by and I was like, we did it. We went on another fork in the road. We did not go down. We're not 15 minutes later arguing more intensely with someone who's not in the room. It was so fun. I was so proud of myself.
Sponsor.
Call you
your
sponsor.
sponsor.
Call you
Call
sponsor.
your
Call you
sponsor.
sponsor.
Bitch.
Call you.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.